to an examination of race relations in the UK, and that was the Oldham riots. Tensions between white and Asian youths erupted in May 2001, leading to 3 nights of violence. So how has Oldham fared since? Have the lessons of the riots been learned? Let's join our political editor, Annabel Tiffin. Annabel is in Oldham for us tonight. Annabel, over to you.
Yes, Roger, I've been speaking to people in Oldham all day today about the riots, and I have to say that most people I spoke to say they don't even think about them. In fact, they say that it's the media, us, who bring this up every time there is an anniversary. But there is an acceptance that they were a catalyst for change in the way that children were educated in the town, in social housing and in integration in general. But, like in many towns across the country, there is still much more to be done. This is Waterloo Street in Glodwick 20 years ago, the scene of some of the worst violence of the riots in Oldham. Naseem Ashraf was 29 at the time, and he still lives in Glodwick.
When it all sort of kicked off, I made my way down here. I couldn't get past where we were stood before, simply because of the police presence and it was all barricaded off.
After the riots, he co-founded a charity in the town to help forge better relationships between communities.
Both sides played a big part in it, and those tensions need to be demolished in a calm way, in a strategic way.
You're speaking in the present, though, need to be. Do you not think that anything has changed? Do you not think those problems have been tackled?
They have been tackled, but I think 30-35% of improvements have been seen. I think there's a long way to go.
At this estate agent's in Chadderton, the housing market is booming. Its owner, Alan Kirkham, has lived his whole life here.
I can remember as a little boy the first Asian family coming to live near me in Shaw. We used to a mixed community around here, and I think it has got more diverse and more balanced in recent years.
Have you noticed over, say, the past 20 years that people have changed, communities have changed where they live?
There are Asian families living in North Chadderton, Royton.
Areas that 20 years ago would have had mainly a white community.
Yeah. So that's been a gradual progression over the years.
This is Alexandra Park in the town, which forms a physical separation between what was always historically a predominantly white area, Fitton Hill, and Glodwick, which was predominantly Asian. A report into the riots at the time found the cause was people living separate, even parallel lives. But is that still the case? And 20 years on, do people think things have changed? Is there still a separation between Glodwick and Fitton Hill, do you think?
I don't think so, no. Everything... No, I'm living in Morris Street. My next door neighbour is an Englishman, wife and wife. No problem with that. They're very happy.
Do you think that things have improved between white communities and Asian communities since the riots?
I hate to say no, I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, they have their cultures, and Brits, if they've got a culture, they've got their culture.
It's not a bad place at all now. It's not like it was. Yeah, not bad at all.
More integrated now.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Did they need to happen to bring about change?
I don't think they needed to happen. I think the self-realisation would have been far, far better. However, they did happen, and we can't reverse back time. And possibly it sort of promoted or pushed us forward to do things quicker. And I think that's a good thing. That's the positives that have come out of this.
Let's talk about this a bit more now with two guests here, Father Phil Sumner and Aruj Shah. You are the new council leader here, the first woman Muslim council leader, we think, in the country. Does that show, I mean, you were born in Glodwick, does that show how much things have changed?
Absolutely it does, and I just feel like it's a huge honour and a privilege to be an Oldhamer actually, and I don't take away the historic moment about being the first Muslim Asian council leader in the Northwest, but actually I'm just an Oldhamer, and to be able to live here, grow up here and achieve this job is just a massive honour for me.
I know that you really do not want Oldham to be defined by what happened 20 years ago.
Absolutely not. The street where I live, the riots took place at the bottom of that street. Now, if you ask me throughout my life whether that is the point of reference, it's not. You know, you speak to people and it's not the point of reference. But I do think, and I do resent as an Alderman first and foremost, the obsession with the riots. So it's 10 years from the riots and it's 20 years.
Yeah.
I understand people have to reflect and lessons have been learned, but actually it's not the point of reference at all for us as an Alderman.
Father Phil Sumner, you came here in 2001 to help out with community relations after the riots. Lots has been done. What do you think was the pivotal thing? Was it education, bringing schools together, children together?
Education was a major area, and where before there were several of our schools, our secondary schools in particular, they were very segregated. There was a definite move through building schools for the future that brought schools together, 90% white, 90% Asian, and brought them together on one site. There have been problems, but there's also been a lot of work done to make it work. And myself and a local mufti go into all these different schools. We go into the college, we go into the sixth form college, and we model, as it were, our relationship and show cohesion. And we've built lots of networks of relationships. So when things happen, either events in the world or events in Oldham, we have that strength of relationship now that we didn't have before.
Yeah. Does it matter that lots of communities live slightly into separate lives, if you like, parallel lives, as was said in the Cantel report? Does that matter?
So I read the Cantel report, skimmed through it over the weekend, and for me, I have to be really honest, it felt like a historical piece written at a moment in time that didn't mirror my life experience or upbringing in the town. And the whole narrative around parallel lives is a bit unfair, actually, because, you know, surprise, surprise, people are allowed to choose to live where they'd like to live. And I can back that up with actual physical demonstrations of where. So, for example, in the pandemic, we saw people come together as a community. People weren't necessarily supporting people of their own heritage or anything else like that. They actually came together, and that's the strength of Oldham, and that's the Oldham. Oldham is no one like.
Thank you very much, both of you. I'm sorry, we have actually run out of time, but so interesting to hear about it. Tomorrow we're going to be speaking to some young people in Oldham who weren't even born at the time of the riots, to see what they think about all living together in Oldham.
Annabelle, thanks very much indeed. Annabelle, they're live for us in Oldham tonight. It's raining. We're not going travelling too far now, but the sun is out, I have to say, where we're about to head.